All right, SWOT. Now, some of you may be familiar with this and some of you may not, but this is a personal assessment. We're also going to do a personality assessment, which is called DISC. But SWOT stands for strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Now, why are we doing all of this self-searching stuff? Well, as I've always said from the beginning, you are the entrepreneur. And the more you know about yourself and the more you're honest with yourself and you hold yourself accountable, the more successful you're going to be, not only in your real estate journey, but in the future as a team leader, as a broker. And if you're those things already, how to be better. So let's get started. So SWOT, as I told you, does start with you. It is basically understanding and identifying and pinpointing what you need to discover and what you need to improve on. It's understanding your weaknesses, and that's not a bad thing. I know we look at it and says, oh, it's so horrible that I'm not that way. I wish I was another way. No, no, no. You are who you are. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. And we just got to understand what our weaknesses are so that we can create habits that strengthen our weaknesses, but keep our strengths strong. So I want to make sure you understand that just trying to focus on your weaknesses will make your strengths weak. So we want to keep your strengths and we want to add in a 1% improvement. So we just want to make sure that we're identifying everything that we need to work on and so that we can develop those habits to solve it. So how do we spot opportunities? Well, that is actually very, very important. You need to be a habitual opportunity seeker. Now, I didn't come from a lot, so I had to knock down doors. I didn't just gently knock. I waved down the ring camera and I was like, let me in. I'm ready for my opportunities. So you definitely want to make sure that you reveal your potentials and avenues for growth. So let's go ahead and let's get started with some of the recognizing threats. So what is a threat? Well, a threat in general is something that's going to risk you as a person or risk your business. What's a threat to your business, right? But really, I want to change your perception because the more you find something a threat, the more it becomes one, right? What you focus on grows. And so when it comes to recognizing threats, the only threats we want to recognize are economics. Those economic threats that help us adjust, not quit, not keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. That's called insanity. But as we start seeing an economic shift as far as lending percentages, what are the percentages up? Are they down? What are the concerns of the buyers? So if those are threats, what you're doing is simply finding solutions. That's why it's important to recognize the threat. And then, of course, self-assessments. We want to make sure that this whole thing, this whole SWOT, this whole thing that we're about to do is going to help you set priorities. So let's get started, yeah? It may look very familiar. You may have already done these before, but I want to just do a quick recap, and then I want to do an exercise with you that's going to help you identify really who you are, where you are. But I also, if you see here, I also have actions. So if you're dominant, if you're a big D, that's me, big D, big I. So the big D is dominance. And if you have traits like you're very direct, you're very decisive, you're very driven. Now, direct doesn't mean too assertive or someone who's unflexible, but it just means someone that's a driver, someone who wakes up and has a vision and then starts pursuing that vision, someone who doesn't mind being in front of people and commanding the room. So if you're a dominant person, the real estate actions you should take are networking, leading events, definitely the one-on-one action, the prospecting, the educational events, and taking fast action. Those are some great actions for you to take on. Now, I want to be very clear, just because I'm recommending actions for your strength doesn't mean that if you do not have these strengths, you shouldn't be doing these things. All it means is that you're going to be doing it differently. Yeah. So for me, I'm a direct person. I'll straight call someone, email someone and say, hey, let's do an event together. Other people, they may need to take some more time and maybe do it a different way, but these things should still be done. They're just going to be done differently. I know for a lot of agents, I used to just pick up the phone for sale by owners. I've been able to coach agents who don't have that kind of personality to actually go and just leave a seller's guide and then follow up. So they have more of a CNS personality, which is absolutely awesome. Nothing is better than the other. Everything is equally wonderful. And if we all had all of these traits, we'd be perfect. And none of us are perfect. So if you're not a D person, you are still headed for success. You're just going to do things differently. I stands for influence. These are traits of outgoing people, extremely persuasive, people oriented. They're constantly at networking events. They're constantly connecting other people, social butterflies. I have to be honest with you. I am not the biggest social butterfly. I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a coach, but when it comes to when I'm done, I'm done. I'm kind of that person. So I'm an extra introverted. I'm a both kind of person. But definitely when it's time for me to turn it on, when it's time for me to work, when it's time for me to go ahead and talk to people and engage with people, I'm there. So these are traits that they have. Now, some actions to that, big DI person are there again, big event people, open houses, video marketing, building content relationships and client relationships. These are all the things that these I influence, these DI people are doing. And so if you are that person and you are doing these things, fantastic. But if you are kind of this person, we tend to lack the other ones, right? That's S and C, and that's okay. We just have to be aware of it, and we have to start either hiring people that are better at that than us. But if we don't have the funds or the liquid to do that, then we need to go ahead and find out how we can go ahead and come out of our shell a bit, even though it's a bit uncomfortable. But that's the one thing about success. It's about being uncomfortable. Now let's talk about the S, which is the steadiness. This is someone who is extremely supportive, loyal, patient. Man, they make for fantastic referral agents. People who have encountered them, they are just referring and referring and referring people to them. A lot of issues I know I ran into because I am a D and an I was the fact that I was always working for the next transaction. And I kind of forgot about my referral base. Not that I didn't send them emails from time to time, but when it came to really nurturing them and doing the stuff I should have been doing as a new agent, I wasn't that person. It kind of wasn't my personality, but I've learned to be different. So if your steadiness, some great actions for you is really to take care of your CRM management, your database, right? Loving on them, calling them. If they're owners of property, do you need a value report for your property? If they're renters, hey, what can we do to help you become a homeowner, to build generational wealth, to now stop throwing away your money and building towards your future? Like this person with an S thinks about all angles on how to nurture everything in front of them. So fantastic for you Sers out there. And last but not least, C, and this is a person who's not me, very analytical, very detail oriented. They're very cautious. They analyze everything. You, my beautiful agents, are the ones that want to learn everything before you go get started. And that's okay. Honestly, they're all great. Just know the longer you wait and needing all the details and having to have everything perfect, the longer it's going to take for you to make money. So it's also a fantastic way though for y'all. Y'all are going to be amazing CMAers. You're going to be able to, you're so analytical. So you're all into market research and transaction management, building back-end systems. You guys are fantastic. I need you in my life because I am not that person. So cahoots to you see people. That means you're going to be really big on systems. So you should have a lot of habits. The only thing we're going to have to work on is getting you out more in front of people. So whichever one you identified with, write that down. Or in the DISC assessment, you may be a little bit of both. Now, it's very, very common. We all have a little bit of everything, but there's always two very, very dominant things. And so those are the things you want to write down right now. Where are your strengths? Where do you see what you are? And then now we can go into the SWOT. So the reason why I like to do the DISC before the SWOT is because you're not really going to identify your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, or threats unless you can kind of identify who you are and how your engines run. And so because you're built a certain way, certain of your strengths and weaknesses now can come out, right? So let's talk about that. What are you good at? Write it down. Write down everything that you are good at based on kind of the disc. Are you really good at open houses? Are you really good at event marketing? Are you really good? What are you good at? Oh, are you good at being in front of the camera? You know, my years in the NFL made me good in front of the camera. I wasn't always good in front of the camera. And so is that one of your strong suits? What are your weaknesses? Well, maybe you're the one that doesn't like to create the content calendar, or maybe you're the one that doesn't like to write the scripts, or maybe you love being on camera and you're strong at it, but it takes you so long because, you know, you kind of just, either don't find the time to do it, or it takes you so long because you don't know how to write the scripts to do it. And there's great tools for us to use, especially with AI and ChatGPT that can write these scripts for you. So that's the great thing about what are my weaknesses? Then I can go ahead and get some help here, right? And not that I have to leave my strength to go to my weakness. I need to keep my strength strong and I need to attend to my weaknesses through other realms, whether that's hiring an assistant, adopting systems that are going to make my life easier. I know for a lot of agents, they just don't have the time to do everything, but they can't afford an assistant yet. So then they have to look at tools and systems. So if you're having a hard time providing content or putting out content on your social media or even your newsletters, they have AI tools for that. So look into that. And opportunities, current opportunities to use to your advantage. My friends, I always say you have more opportunities in front of you than you even know. Open your eyes. Where do you currently live? Where are you currently affiliated? What church? What gym? What group? What parent group? What children group are your children's a part of? Are they in gymnastics? Are they what sports camp? Are they, whatever it is, opportunity, right? And so a lot of times, a lot of us are secret agents. We don't want to be out there telling everyone who we are because we don't want to be annoying. But there's so many ways to get people's attention without doing any of that. From the things that you say, and we're going to talk about that throughout the academy, but even to the things you wear, if you're wearing a name badge or if you're wearing a hat that has your logo on it, that clearly says real estate, y'all. We're going to talk about that in branding and marketing. But it's clear that you're a realtor without asking for anything. You're just always present and you're always helping and you're always talking about it. You will be remembered. So look at all those opportunities around you. Anytime you go to a networking event, what opportunity are you looking for? And what's your goal? Remember, SMART goals. What is that goal that you're looking for to get to this networking event? Don't just leave it to chance. Showing up is half the battle, but you don't win the battle by halfway fighting through the battle. You win the battle by finishing the battle. So keep that in mind. So threats, external factors. Those are the threats, like I said, economics. Economy should be really the only thing you find as a threat. It should never be another agent is a threat to you. None of that. We're a community. We're not competition. And I say that with a lot of love because in this industry, it's very easy to look at agents on social media and try to compete with them. And you lost sight of your mission and vision of what your business is about. So making sure that you're not falling into that is really important. Again, the only threat is the only one you can't help, which is economics. Interest rates, you can't help that. But what can we do to work around that? What can we do to offer more money to buy down interest rates? What can we do to get new buyer programs to get money towards closing? So whenever you see a threat, you simply understand how to work it completely. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope you were able to pull out your strengths, your weaknesses. I want you to also write down your opportunities. And the threat, again, should just be economic. So how are you overcoming those threats? Now I'm going to connect with you a bit and just go ahead and show you what are some strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Well, here's a little guide for you. I just wanted to, and these are just a few things, my friends, just a few things that you'll see. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Is my strength or weakness sales? What about presentations, listing presentations, buyer presentations? How strong are you there at closing and getting contracts signed? What about your market knowledge? Do you know some, but you could probably learn some more? Do you know everything there is to know about your community, your city, your county, your state? So there's always things to learn, always things to know when it comes to the market. Are you strength and networking? Can I just give you a little coaching tip though when it comes to networking? We want goals, right? We have to set SMART goals. So specific, and in the specific goals, we want to make sure that we understand the audience we're going to. So if you're going to a networking event of just real estate agents, your opportunity there is to have referring agents. And I talk a lot about that in CRM management. But referring agents are basically agents who do commercial that don't want to do a residential, vice versa. Or if you're going to a national networking event, connecting with real estate agents that are part of other states that can actually send you referrals in your state and vice versa. Do not go to a networking event thinking you're going to find buyers and sellers, which indirectly by doing those things, you kind of maybe sort of will. But if you are having to have exact buyers or exact sellers or people that are not in real estate, make sure you're targeting those networking events, okay? So, or creating them. Stephanie, I don't know any networking events to do. Create one in your community, create a community Facebook, whatever the case may be, create your opportunities too. Don't just look for all the doors to be open for you. Are you strong or weak at follow-up calls, social media marketing, event marketing, community involvement, building relationships? Are you strong or weak at planning, CRM systems? Are you strong or weak at having drive and discipline? Are you strong or weak at distractions, leadership, learning, energy? And most of all, are you taking care of yourself? Remember, you're the entrepreneur. If you don't take care of yourself, nobody else will, and no one will take care of your business. A healthy you is a healthy business. So after all of these guides, I want you to write down your strengths, your weaknesses, and your opportunities. Remember, the threat is the only one is the economic, right? That we can't help. Can't help that part, but we can work around it and we can find solutions to the problem. So I hope this was pretty helpful to y'all. Here is just a little guide for you. You're going to see a link to it in the video. So you can go ahead and print that up if you want to, or you can just write it down in front of you. So it's really great for us to go ahead and take a quick look of who we are so we know how to work and we can be more effective. So by understanding who you are and how you're wired, you can definitely plan to your strengths and weaknesses. My friends, we'll see you in the next video.